Good morning, everyone.
How are you all going out there?
This is a business as usual show.
Yeah.
Huge week of sport, and one man who is sitting right alongside me is a very, very, very happy camper today. Tell us why, Liam.
Tipperary won the
Hey,
Division
Tipperary.
3 championship in
I
the
thought
NFL.
so. Up the Tipperary.
Up to the Division
Come
2.
on, Tipperary.
That's the big story. That's the big news of the week.
We just
nothing
strangled
bigger.
a leprechaun there, by the way.
Nothing bigger than that.
Nothing bigger than that. How are you going to top Tipperary winning? I mean, that is huge. That's huge.
Absolutely
Irish
destroyed
news.
them. A 9-point win as well.
Oh, I know.
Demolished them.
Demolished
in
them.
the
I
end.
mean, this is huge. I mean, I can't believe this isn't the number one story in Australia right now, or in the world in that regard.
It should be Division 3 as well. Division 3 is the best division.
Division 3. It's better than Division 2 and 1 put
Yeah.
together. It's like Division 3, man. Come on. But we are going to mention just a small result. You know, nothing too big. There was a team. They wear purple. They are a very proud side. Haven't had the best couple of years. But on the weekend, they had a pretty notable win, would you have to say?
Did Fremantle...
Was it the Fremantle Dockers?
Did they win? I couldn't notice.
I don't know.
I
don't
just
know.
have no idea.
For all those people out there, to give you a visual representation, we have a man who's practically naked to the bone,
I look like
wearing
dinosaur.
purple underwear, and he is a very, very happy man.
Oh, up the Dockers.
Security are waiting alongside. Anything could happen here.
Give
There is
Fife
very
a
happy man.
10-year contract.
Oh,
Let's get around
I thought
them,
he
boys.
was-
Get around them.
Give Griffin Logue a 10-year contract. Now, I just got to say one thing, just real quick. Not only congratulations for beating the reigning premiers, but what about the haircuts at the Fremantle Dockers? I think that deserves
It's
3 Brownlow
atrocious.
votes just alone. Like, how much long hair is there? It is ridiculous.
McCarthy's doing a thing where he's proving a point that you don't need to be good looking to get good looking women if you play football.
I don't know. It's like an uppercut. It's almost like something you'd
He
see in
has
the army.
two-
But then he has like a
two things in
some
his
kind
hair.
of sumo wrestling kind of ponytail coming out the
And
back.
that moustache though, he is
Oh, gee.
he's like Cameron Ling looking here.
I would love to dob him as the wild thing. He's the next wild thing. He's unbelievable. But it was a big round of sport. This was the round of upsets in the AFL. This was the big round of upsets. No one really expected Collingwood to go over to Sydney and beat the Swans. No one expected the Gold Coast Suns to thrash the
No one
Hawks.
expected the Blues
The Blues
to get up over the Bombers.
Yeah, well, let's not
Come
go into
on,
that
the
too much.
Blues.
But I think that's pretty obvious because Essendon can't play wet weather footy. If it's dry, I back us in. But no synergy at the moment. But the showdown was huge.
And we are from Tigerland.
And Tigers
3-0.
3-0. No one would have expected
The
this.
Yellow and Black Army are as cocky as they ever have been.
Oh, yeah. And there's one man who's absolutely leading that side. It's Daniel Rioli. It's another Rioli.
Oh, how
it's another
delicious.
freakish, delicious Rioli. And
During
it's-
that game,
Oh.
I remember going to my little brother, talking like,
Yep.
this Rioli, he's tasty, you know, he's nice.
tasty. He's
but then he
delicious.
gets the ball, bamboozles a few players, and goes from tasty to absolutely delicious.
It was beautiful. And also, we're going to be recapping some of the NRL as well. The grand final rematch was on, and it was the same kind of pain for the Storm, unfortunately. And we're also going to talk a bit of tennis.
Oh, get around
The Aussies
Kyrgios.
are flying.
Get around
The
him.
Aussies are flying. And Nick Kyrgios finally kept it all together. And, wow, the Aussies are absolutely flying in the Davis Cup. So we got a huge show on for you guys today. And, of course, when we get back from this song, we're going to be talking about the Purple Haze, the Fremantle Dockers, the man in purple. The men are doing an incredible job. And, wow, I'm excited.
Yes.
They're off the bottom of the ladder.
More here on the Sports Desk on Sin 90 points. We are back with the Premiership winning Fremantle Dockers.
Get
around them, boys.
Get off it.
Get around them.
Get off it. Come on. All right, yes. No, it was a big round of AFL football this week, and we must start on a very big Friday night, and it was Collingwood 11-14-80 defeating the Swans, edging them out by 1 point, 11-13-79, and it was Buddy's big game. And
He did not have a big game.
And he did not have a big game at all.
I tipped him in though. He looked like halfway through the second quarter, I'm thinking to myself, he looks like he could kick 10.
He honestly, he's a man. He's an absolute
He
unit.
is. He was a man. He is a man.
He
Thank
is
you.
a man. He is a man. He is
Last
a man.
time I checked.
He has came a long way since crashing his Volkswagen. He has came a very, very long way, and since then he has just risen to the top, and he will be one of the greatest forwards of all time. But wasn't his game, and the Pies were very, very impressive.
Yes, their GWS players have doing really well.
I tell you
Adams, Will Hoskin-Elliott, and Adam Treloar.
Adam Treloar. They've got a marvellous team. And even a man who goes under the radar, GWS player as well, Will Hoskin-Elliott, has been very, very impressive this year. Kind of came not on the biggest money, came to the club, changed his haircut so he doesn't stand out as much, and as a result, he goes under the radar from a lot of sides.
Kicked a match-winning goal.
And he kicked a beautiful goal from outside 50. And I think he's ready to deliver. And 26 goals from 20 games with GWS in 2014. Since then, wasn't really cited, and he's came back and he's been huge.
One thing that annoyed me about this game was the last 30 seconds. Sydney kicks the goal, 1 point ball game. I can't remember who marked. He marked it just outside 50. And he waited as well. He waited until the umpire played on. And instead of having a whole bunch of Sydney players inside the 450, he kicked it to a 2-on-1 with Sam Reid.
Yep.
What are the Sydney players thinking? They've gone from being grand finalists to being absolute muppets.
And I think this is a problem with the Sydney Swans. You look, particularly last year, they lost a couple of very, very close games. The one to Richmond was unforgivable. Just their structure completely fell down. I think the one against Hawthorn as well, where Cyril Rioli kicked the match-winning goal.
Oh, he's delicious.
Delicious. They also fell down on their faces there as well. So I think Sydney...
The Doggies as well, with Joe Hannison.
That's right. I think Sydney need to find ways to win a game in a close position. They seem to... Players like Dean Tower, they let him down a couple of times last year, and this year just the whole team themselves just kind of dropped their heads. They just weren't themselves.
The qualifying final against the Giants as well.
That's right.
As well as the grand final, which Lucy's probably very fond of.
Yeah, I love that game.
But I mean, this from Sydney. Josh Kennedy was not prolific. He didn't have a big game, and this is his second week in a row where he's been pretty quiet. And new skipper. We're not obviously going to put too much pressure on him as yet, but he's got to stand up a little bit more.
Actually, speaking of Sydney, before we go to the next game, I've got an issue with the footy show.
The footy show.
Apart from the fact that they're terrible
the new
now.
look footy show, Liam.
Okay, doesn't everyone have an issue with the footy show?
I think we've had issues for the footy show for a long time. Get around a game day.
Alcoholism's a very serious problem, without a doubt. Dan Hannaby decided to give up alcohol just to be healthier and that. Good on him. And then the footy show bashed him about it and then goes, we should find a way to get him back on alcohol, which I thought was a disgusting taste from the footy show.
Yeah.
I just think, especially, Dan Hannaby was never addicted to alcohol. He's not an alcoholic. But,
no, he loves a frothy every now and then.
Yeah, he enjoys a nice frothy, but I just thought, someone's trying to do this life-changing thing, and they're bashing him for it.
Because he's not playing the best that he
played not bad on the weekend.
But then he did come back and play pretty good in the weekend. The first two games he was quiet. But yeah, it's such a...
That just really turned me off the footy. Any hope I had of watching
the footy show, the problem is, I think, always with the footy show, they've been etched in this kind of Australian larrikinism, and they're all very much based around this quite crude humour. A lot of beer jokes, Billy Brownless loves a good frothy, and he mentions it about every 3 minutes. But they've drawn away from footy, and they're more kind of around just kind of roasting each other and trying to roast other players. And don't know about the introduction with Alex Rance on the show. I don't know if that's going to be the best thing for him. Seems a bit weird.
And because it is steeped in that kind of like Australian larrikinism or whatever, I think a lot of Australia has sort of moved on from that.
I think they have.
As well.
They have. Look, they won an award. I think they won a Logie a couple of years ago, and they've had a couple good seasons, but it's so repetitive these days, and now Gary Lyon's not there and there's no stretcher. It's kind of all the jokes have gone. He was a big source of jokes, but it's a bit disappointing.
We got our next game in Tassie.
Now we must remind you before we get to this game. Last time the Giants played in Tassie, they were blown away by about 100 points
in their second ever game. But Jezza Cameron did kick 5 and got the Never Rising Star nomination.
He did.
But this time it was the Giants. Ran away in the end, as good teams should.
As they should.
109 to 67. But 15 goals, 19. Bad kicking is the story of the round, actually.
It is. Couple of honourable mentions. Josh Kelly.
The $9 million man.
The $1 million man. The $9 million man. Well, was it a 10-year contract? 9 years? 9 years?
I think it's a stupid move from both parties if it happens.
I mean, look, he's a sensational young player, but that's the thing, he's a young player.
Yeah, you don't give him a career-long contract at that age.
And North Melbourne, I don't quite know. They've been criticised a lot about what exact direction they're going in with their list. Look, North have been good. Like they have lost their first 3 games, but they have looked competitive, and a lot of people thought they were going to look a lot more flatter. They've looked all right.
Last week they lost the game more than Geelong won it last week.
That's right.
Well, same in Melbourne this week. We'll get to them as well. Let's talk about probably at the time was the upset of the round. Everyone's like, the round can't get more upsetting than this.
That's right.
The Tigers, the yellow and black army.
This is great. This is great.
Out in force with a nice
beautiful
win in the wet.
Yeah, and then that's the big thing. In front of a home crowd at the MCG, the Tigers have been poor in the past, and they have pulled out some pretty dismal performances at the G. But this was one for the Tiger faithful. I think the Tiger faithful really drew them through this game, and there is a player, Daniel Rioli. Has he lived up to the name, or will he live up to the name?
Oh, he's getting quite
there.
nice.
He's getting there. Look, he's getting to that delicious stage. Right
Like,
now,
he's almost that
he's
nice
medium rare.
steak, that nice
that's
medium
right.
steak.
That's right. It's juicy, but it's not quite delicious.
Yeah.
So we're still gonna hold our judgment on
But
him.
we'll talk about who is delicious at the moment. Mr. Out of contract, Dusty Martin. Nice 40 touches and 2 snags, if you don't mind.
Smoky, including an incredible check side goal. It's unbelievable. He's in Brownlow contention.
Oh, definitely.
And
It's only been 3 rounds, but you could definitely say that. Like, he would have polled 3 votes the last 3 weeks.
That's right. That's right. Much like Dangerfield, Dangerfield, and I think Ollie Wines are looking like the absolute smokies
like Clayton
at
Oliver.
the moment.
He won't win the Brownlow, but
look, I probably won't be able to maintain it for the whole. He'll probably taper off a little bit, but he's got potential for the future.
Don't rule out
Clayton
the
Oliver.
Bont as well.
Oh, and the Bont. Well, he's been a little bit quiet lately, but as we know, with the Bont, doesn't need many disposals to be effective. So, very, very big for them. And this was a big game. Eagles were looking good. Eagles have been very good so far this season, and they kept Sam Mitchell relatively quiet. Still got a fair bit of the ball, but wasn't as effective. But yeah, Rioli, unbelievable. It's in the family name.
Also about West Coast, Joshua Kennedy, big Josh Kennedy, something that forwards like to hurt Carlton.
They do.
Betts,
They do.
yeah, not, what's his, I forgot his name, Garlett.
Yep.
And Kennedy, he only needs 62 more goals to take over Peter Strimmich's record of 514.
Strimich, whew. So he could potentially become the all-time highest goal kicker at the West Coast.
He won't
Eagles.
beat the Pavs 700, but
well. As far as the tally in the West, he might not quite beat the great man. But I tell you what, very, very good performance by him, and yeah, kicked 2 goals, 1 on the weekend. So still pretty quiet for his standards because he can kick 14 some weeks. So, but well done to the Tigers, second on the ladder.
Yes.
Looking very, very good indeed.
Melbourne will be kicking themselves. Oh, they had the game won. They could have had the game won at 3/4 time. Could have been an 8-goal lead.
They could have.
My mate mentioned me
smashed
saying,
the inside 50s, 58-46, and that's quite a big total. But 2 players before this game even started were out, being Jordan Lewis and
Smokey
Jesse
Hogan.
Smokin' Hogan, quite literally. And I think that might have done they might have done a bit more damage.
And throughout the game, someone else was gone.
Oh, for all those out there who had him as your captain in Supercoach, first and foremost, good idea because he probably would have beaten the Geelong ruckman, but down with a pretty serious looking
about
knee
16
injury.
they say he could be back by.
And so it's going to hurt us.
They've come out and said he needs surgery on his hamstring.
It's not good at all.
8 till 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Melbourne are reporting, which isn't good for
Not
Max
good
Gawn.
at all.
But even
So
saying
he's
that,
gone.
Melbourne without Max Gawn should have been up by 8 goals at 3/4 time. My mate messaged me saying Geelong's playing terrible. We use other words, but we'll say terrible for this program. And I go, nah, Melbourne's missing too many opportunities. Geelong will come back like they did last week against the Kangas. And thankful for Geelong, they found their 3rd player.
They did.
With Mr. Menzel. How
Mr.
good is
Menzel
he?
is
Coming back
brilliant.
from all his ACL injuries.
4 goals.
Absolute gun.
Absolutely crucial at the end of the day, and that was the margin at the end of the day. So that was very, very good. Another man we should mention, Brandon Parfitt. I think it's Parfitt. 23 disposals. Played a very, very, very nice game. Kicked a sausage roll as well. He was very good, so look out for him. He's very cheap on Supercoach, so get him in. But of course, the Dangerwood, again. combined for a huge over 50 disposals apiece. And Joel Selwood got 37, Paddy 36, and 3 goals to Paddy, if you don't mind, and a goal to Joel Selwood as well. So 4 goals, over 60 disposals in between them.
Are they the best couple in the AFL?
I think they are the best couple.
They would have the most
AFL.
beautiful kids if they had kids.
I mean, originally it was probably Chris Judd and Rebecca Judd, but this is the next best thing, I think. This is
they're just
like,
gorgeous together.
They are marvellous. So that was a big win for the Cats, and Etihad Stadium again, a bit doom and gloom.
Yeah, we'll head to a song and we'll wrap up rest of round 3 here on the Sports Desk on SYN 90.7. You're listening to the Sports Desk on SYN 90.7. Back with the second part of round 3. And we start off with a massive showdown.
The showdown! Wow, this is the first time in history that these two clubs have been 1 and 2 on the ladder, and they've came up against each other in what was looking like one of the most epic showdowns in showdown history.
It was a good showdown, though.
It was a good showdown, and of course the Adelaide Crows, they did it again, the
Proved their
42nd edition of the South Australian rivalry, and the Crows in front of a huge record-breaking crowd of 53,698, if you don't mind. That was the biggest crowd for a showdown and any game in the AFL for Adelaide Oval. Isn't that huge?
Oh, it's absolutely massive.
It's massive. But this was a big game, and the Crows, they just found a way to clutch the big moments. Texan Walker put the icing of the cake, kicking it from about, I think it was about 70 metres out. It was an unbelievable kick.
That was a buddy-like kick.
Yeah, he's just like, you know what, I'll kick this. And he just went bang. But a couple of big performances in this game. Matty Crouch did very, very well, 32 disposals. We should mention that his brother, Brad, is playing
killing it in the reserves.
Killing. I think he got, 40 disposals this week?
In a nice 2-point win.
In a nice 2-point win for the Crows as well, so they're doing very, very well.
Rory Sloane, probably the most boganest-looking man you'll probably ever see.
Tell you what, you got to love the blonde hairdo. We've been talking about, we've been critical of haircuts all morning. We've been talking Five should get rid of his do. We're talking Cam McCarthy looks disgraceful, but Rory Sloane, he can wear a do. He can wear a beautiful bit of blonde locks as well. He is like the Goldilocks of Adelaide.
Coming up again with a nice 31 touches, 1 goal if you don't mind. Taking out the showdown medal. I think it's called the showdown medal. I actually don't know what it's called.
Yeah. The Koshy medal.
The Koshy medal.
The Koshy medal. I think that's only fair, isn't it?
As you do. Yeah. Proving that Adelaide don't need Dangerfield. It was a nice breakup. They stay friends afterwards. They really did, unless if my predictions could come true. In round 11, Geelong and Adelaide play, and they can both stay undefeated. That would be an absolute massive game down in Geelong.
Is it down at Geelong?
Down in Geelong.
Well, you see, Adelaide have kind of... Geelong have had the wood over Adelaide the last couple of games.
Had everyone in Geelong.
The danger wood over them, So they've got to be wary of that. And I think Adelaide, they're looking like a whole new side this year. They're really looking rejuvenated. They're 3-0, and they are just going to continue to get better.
Next week.
And I tell you what, if it's going to be anywhere near a dry game, the Dons, just pencil them in, because another forward went down for the Crows, and I know they have no problems kicking big scores. But it was what the brother's name from McGovern. He went down and did his hammy, so he could be out for a fair while. What's his name? The one who punctured the lungs as well. He's gone. He's out.
Jenkins might come back next week.
But Jenkins might be back, which would be really, really great for Essendon.
If Walker doesn't get you, Lynch will get you. If Lynch doesn't get you, Charlie Cameron will get you. If Charlie Cameron doesn't get you, the bets.
The bets. So and if they don't get you, then someone in the midfield will.
They've got the most dominant forward line probably in the AFL.
That's right. And a lot of their half-backmen can also kick big goals as well. So that was big. But I think the moment where the game changed was Port, they absolutely charged out of the gate. They kicked the first 3 goals before Adelaide booted the next 10 out of the 13, including 6 in a row between the second and the third quarters. That was where the game was wide open. And Adelaide, they are looking the goods.
The only thing that's, I think, the issue of Adelaide at the moment is their slow starts. Against GWS, they're behind. I don't think they've been in front a quarter time in any of their games. Which against a team like Geelong, if they go up and play Geelong, against the Doggies, against maybe a different Giants team, it will be a completely different story.
It'll be a completely different story. Now let's get to the biggest game of the round, the biggest upset of the round, in my opinion. The Dockers can play fast, free-flowing footy, can't they?
How good was that start?
It's delicious. They kicked the first 4 goals?
Yep.
And they just looked so good. Your players were nailing them from all over the place. And your run and your carry was just sensational. Well done, Dockers.
It was a good win. It was a really. I've said to a few people, apart from probably our qualifying final win in Geelong in 2013, this is probably one of my favourite wins as a Free supporter.
This is great. And to do it so early in the season as well against such a big club in the Doggies.
Well, we're the only team to beat the Doggies.
Exactly. That is correct. That is correct. You are the first team since
Freo.
Since Freo to beat the Doggies.
Yeah.
You seem to be the only team that can beat them at the moment.
I just think I remember going to my little brother. It was Doggies got in front, and my little brother's getting annoyed. And I go, I'm not even mad if we lose this game. We've showed something that we haven't shown in the first 2 games. Hard.
That's right. That's right. And I think as well, you guys were just so hard around the ball. And particularly when I watch the Doggies, they are so good at getting those quick handballs out of the congestion and get the ball chained up and moving forward. One thing you guys were doing was the manic pressure. As soon as a player would get it, including the Bont, who always seems to have so much time, as soon as he got it, they were just wrapped up.
I think Freo did fantastic on
This
Bont.
was the Freo of old. This was the Freo that used to bring that huge pressure and you could never get the ball out. But the way you were flowing it as well is the new Dockers. I like it.
Oh, and one thing that made me happy last week, I mentioned that Freo were the only team not to have a multiple goal kicker. Walters, Crozier, Mundy, Kirsten, and McCarthy, if you don't mind, kick more snags than there are with Bunnings.
There you go. There you go. More than what a Segway could pick up. And I tell you what.
Crozier with the goal, probably one of the goals of the year, with that beautiful snap.
Oh, wasn't that
Kiss
grouse?
the jumper, which brings me to an issue, actually.
Oh, here we go.
With the Dockers.
Here we go. Can't kiss purple.
Not that, is the fact that you've got Ibbison, Johnson, Fife, Mundy, Sandilands, Crozier, Sheridan, Langdon, Blakely. Who else do I have? And there's 2 more players that are out of contract at the end of this year.
Whoa. So how many was that altogether,
That's 11 in that game. In that game alone.
In that game alone, 11 players out there could potentially be finding new homes.
I know we're in round 3, and it's still early on, but we need if Fife signs, he'll sign June, July, maybe even early August. If he doesn't sign, he's gone.
He's gone.
After that, it's safe to say. We got to get some of the young players signing.
That's right. You got some very good talent
this team, and I was like, if we any chance to win a premiership, these are the players we need. We need this team. Granted, Johnson and probably Lee Spur, Sandilands and Mundy won't be a part of that premiership team. But I think, especially Mundy, we should sign on for another year. We can't lose good old Barra.
Absolutely not.
Under pressure,
can't get rid of Mundy.
Kick the sealer, something he's just done his entire career.
That's right. Very good old player, brings a lot of experience and always gets the job done. Always finds plenty of the footy.
I do think you've got the captaincy, unfortunately, probably a few years too late.
Yeah.
I know if we did win the 2013 flag, if we did win, Pavlich was going to give it up and Mundy probably would have captained us then. But I think, poor man.
Poor man.
Go to Sunday.
Let's go to Sunday.
Another honourable loss in Brisbane, but there'll become a time where you can't say that anymore.
They are having some good losses, I've got to say. This is a team that everyone expected to be the very, very bottom of the ladder, the Anchors, and they have just been outstanding this season, all led by the great man in Dane Beams, who again kicked some big goals from outside 50, and again had 30 disposals.
For the MVP Captain of the Year award.
Without a doubt. And that, as I said, that sausage roll and just really hard around the footy. 8 tackles, that's an outstanding amount of tackles. But it was the Saints. They were pretty dismal. They did kick away towards the end, winning 14-23, 107 to 11-10, 76. But it was one moment that really, really highlights this game, and it was Lee Montagna, the old head, the experienced head. We love Joey. You got to love Joey. He did a moment where he got a handball from Luke Dunstan and he was in the goal square. No one was around him. So he thought, you know what? There's no players around me. There's about 9 minutes to go in the game. I'm going to soak up the clock. So he literally stood in the one spot, just waited for the umpire to give him the go. He bounced the ball, waited. Pretty much as soon as the Brisbane player won in, he just kicked the goal. Now, do you like the look of that,
I
Liam?
love it.
You love it?
I love any part of cockiness.
You know what I think, and this is my theory behind this. You remember when St Kilda lost to North Melbourne a couple of years ago, when Mason Wood kicked that goal, and he just waited. He waited for that stop clock to just run down to 0, and then he kicked the goal. I reckon Lee Montagna's going, this one's for you, Mason. I'm just going to stop here. I'm going to wait. It might not be a good look, but I'm going to do whatever it takes to win the game. But Alan Richardson was not happy.
No.
If you're a good lip reader, I tell you what.
He said, why the something?
Why the something or other? Why on this sunny, beautiful day in Melbourne would a man stand in the goal square and take a bounce when there's no need to.
You are a great person.
You're a great person, Joey. You're coming to my house this week for dinner, and we're having a spit roast. That's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to head to another result, and this one makes me saddened, but I've got to swallow this.
We are the Navy Blues.
Yes. Well, when we say Navy Blues, we mean very
the Blues this week.
Very Navy blue. Like, what was this? Lucy, what is this Guernsey? You've got a bit of intel into the Blues.
Well, apparently this Guernsey, it's called the Blue Out Guernsey. I don't understand it either. And the thing behind it's the Blue Out Guernsey, and it's a tribute to the suburb that sustains them, or that was the tagline or something weird like that. So it's a tribute to Carlton.
I like it.
Which is like nice, but I still don't understand how going all navy blue was a tribute to Carlton.
But
anyway,
I just think it's like, hey, jersey, hey, money. I think could be a reason.
Yeah, I know, but like heaps of people, they were into it, except for my dad. My dad goes for Essendon as well, and Dad was just like, "What's up with the jumper? You can't even see the emblem." And I was like, "Yeah, good point." But it's the Blue Out.
That's right, Blue Out. There you
should
go.
have gone, Dad. What was Essendon's performance? You can't see the future.
Yeah, we should have had a red out. We just go black. But this was a big game for one particular man, the skipper of Carlton, Marcus Murphy. He was outstanding.
What a game!
Again,
What a captain's game!
He notched up his third straight 30-possession game, something he hasn't done since 2012. And Brendan Bolton put a lot of pressure on him before the start of the season. He said, this is going to be the season where, we really see the best of Mark Murphy. We see his old form, his form of old. And he kicked this amazing check side goal. And that was the moment I knew it was over.
The game was changed after
I knew it was over. And although the Blues were only 1 point in front at that stage, on wet weather games, Essendon can't play wet weather. I have said this before, I'll say it again. I think the problem with Essendon's performance in this game was we just didn't really have that same kind of chemistry that we were the first two rounds. And I think, as John Worsfold said in his press match conference, he said that Essendon are at that stage at the moment where it's going to take a couple more weeks to gel, which is absolutely understandable. But yeah, no, we can't play wet weather footy. Carlton don't score big scores, so this definitely was in their favour, and a couple of the youngsters played very well as well. Tom Williamson played a very good first game, and also a couple of the GWS players played very well. Plowman was great. Marchbank was very solid again, and as you said, Paddy Cripps, his tackling pressure was brilliant.
And you can't win a game. You shouldn't win a game when the scoring shots are 22-12.
Yep, absolutely.
Inside 50 is a 60-37.
Yep. Thanks for reminding me, Liam.
On the bright side, at least the efficiency inside 450 was 37% to 32%.
That's right. So, Essendon had their chances. They played pretty good footy in the last quarter to almost claw it back, but it was Carlton were too good at the end, and the big man from Adelaide put the final nail in the coffin for Essendon, and it was a very good win by them. And now this was the shock of the round. Would you say the shock of the round?
This is probably the shock of the last few seasons, actually.
Now, I just got to say real quickly, there's a man from Coburg, played Coburg local footy for a very, very long time, and one man, you need leg speed in Coburg. Trust me, you need leg speed in Coburg. You need a lot of leg speed in Coburg. And this man has not only ran all the way from Coburg up to the Gold Coast, but he runs that field like no other man I've seen. To outrun poor Piropolo is a great performance. So, Adam Sard, hats off to you. And, wow, a 10-goal term by the Gold Coast Suns absolutely sunk the Hawks. And the real question is, guys, what is happening to the Hawks?
Who cares what's happening to the Hawks? I'm just so happy that they're losing. Like, it's amazing. How good's not going on Facebook and seeing every single Hawthorn supporter just be like, yeah, Hawks and blah, blah, blah. And if you say one wrong thing, they come back and fight you.
No, this is probably more darker times, actually. Get prepared for the... Well, we won 3 premierships in a row.
Oh my God.
Yeah, mate, that was 10 years ago, okay?
Yeah,
Let's just... you still got Essence supporters saying, well, we did win 2000.
Yeah, we've won 16 premierships. It's going to be, classic. Yeah, well, you won 3 in a row.
They're going to hear it.
God.
They're going to remind us about that still, but this is...
If you listen quietly on a quiet winter night, you can hear it. You can hear someone go, well, we won 3 premierships in a row.
That's right. This is the first time since 2004 an Alistair Clarkson's side, coach side, has went zip and 3, which is just unbelievable, which we absolutely love. And they are on the bottom of the ladder now.
I'm not a big fan of Geelong.
No.
I just don't like OP teams with the OP midfield.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping Geelong, a 10-goal smashing on Easter Monday.
That would be beautiful.
That's what I want for Easter.
That would be beautiful.
As well as actually West
That's
Coast.
what I want for Easter.
That's what I want for Easter.
That's what West Coast. West Coast have Sydney in Perth as well. So both teams could be 0-4. Sydney hasn't been 0-3 since 1999. Hawthorn hasn't been 0-3 and last on ladder since 2005.
And there hasn't been many sides since the turn of the decade that have been able to get to a grand final after being 0-3 or 0-4 in that regard. So Sydney have got a long road back, and as for Hawthorn, they're going to struggle to make the 8.
Put a fork in them. They're done. They are done.
They're done. You
The
can't
old
pick
players
up a star recruit like Tyrone Vickery and just hope you're going to win a premiership off his boot.
Well, one issue I had with Hawthorn, and it's a big issue, especially most clubs who do this, and it was something we didn't have time to talk about last week. They were they look at Stephen May. They want to pick up Stephen May for next year. I don't think he's going to go after the weekend. I think he's like sticking with Gold Coast. Probably one of their best players as well. Played a nice
just
cut.
did a little...
I did do one of that.
did the cut symbol. Yeah, very good.
They stuffed it up.
Yep.
But they picked up Brian Lake first.
They did.
Then they picked up Josh Gibson first. Then Brian Lake. Won him a premiership.
Josh Gibson's been dismal.
Picked up Big Boy McAvoy. Also picked up James Frawley. Gibson's probably gone down the year. Burglar's probably gone down the year. So is Hodge. Frawley is not playing his best year. Who do they have? They don't have a tall forward when Ruffhead leaves.
Yeah.
They don't have a ruckman when I know Segler's out injured, but when McAvoy goes, they have no one in they have no young players in the back line. They haven't had it, and
it's a big concern.
St Kilda's loving it at the moment where Hawthorn are.
Oh,
they're absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
They're probably like, who do I want as pick number 1?
This and we mentioned this on the show a couple of weeks ago. They potentially, if Hawthorn finish last on the ladder, they get the number 1 draft pick, St Kilda. So I think St Kilda are going to be going to every single club this week and going, here's our plan to beat Hawthorn. What's yours? You know?
I just think it's which one thing I respect, especially about not the current Geelong team, more about the first premiership. Where I think they only had, apart from Cameron Moon, who only played one season in North Melbourne, they only really had one player from another club.
That's right.
And it's good when you pick up like 1 or 2 players just to fill a role, but you got to bring in young players to fill that role when those players go. Hawthorn has no one in the back line. They have no tall backs.
And you're absolutely right. Geelong have been a brilliant team of that. They've only missed out on the finals once within this whole 10-year period.
They've missed out the finals twice since 2004.
Since 2004. So and they just continue to bring all these great youngsters in, and their list managers are some of the best in the competition.
And as much as I give Geelong a lot of flack, mostly because of Dangerfield, which I shouldn't really, because Adelaide's doing perfectly fine without him.
Absolutely.
But they got Dangerfield, Henderson, Sarwood, Smith and Sarwood were out of the team as well.
Yeah, Zach Smith. Yeah.
Then Zach Tui.
Zach Tui as well.
The Irishman. And they don't really have a lot of people from other clubs. They're doing quite well.
They're doing very, very well, and they bring in these youngsters through that are getting 23 disposals each week and kicking goals. So, you know, they're going to be... Yeah, a lot of people are writing them off, but they're going to be good this year.
There's a lot of issues for the Hawks, especially...
There certainly will be.
This year, next year... Because once you lose the appeal, it's like a girl who's really good looking when they're young with bad personality, but when they get older and the looks start to fade, they don't have anything.
Beautiful analogy, Liam. Beautiful analogy. Talking about beautiful, beautiful girls, Gary Ablett. Gary Ablett Jr. He was beautiful today. He kicked 2 goals. Very good. One from the goal square. Nice 36 touches. Obviously answered the critics, but still not playing his scintillatingly best football. But still, he might get 2-3 votes in this game.
I honestly believe, especially for Gold Coast, you'd be much more happy when you smash a team and Ablett has an okay game. Because especially they've got to prepare for next year. Abbott's not going to be at the club next year.
No, probably not.
But if Abbott plays like that he wants to be there for this year, they'll be fine.
Yep, that's right.
What I said annoys me about the Gold Coast was that this is how I know the Gold Coast can play. This is how I tipped them to play at the start of the year. That's why I had them in my 8.
That's right.
The problem is they're probably going to go to Melbourne next week and lose to Carlton.
Yes, that's what you expect. They're on a high now, but next week they'll probably struggle a little bit. We're going to get to a song, and when we get back, we're going to be talking about some Davis Cup, the NRL results as well. A lot more pain for the Storm as well. And then we are going to wrap up the show.
Yes, here on the Sports Desk on Sin 90.7.
Sin 90.7 FM, you're listening to the Sports Desk. You're here with Liam, a very, very happy man wearing the Fremantle colours, Michael, and of course our producer, Lucy. Wonderful producer this season, by the way, we must say.
Oh, thank you.
Fantastic job.
This, by the way, is our last show, which is very, very emotional. But we've had a great season. We've had great intel from Lucy with the AFL Women's
Yes.
League, which has been outstanding.
I do believe we were best coverage of the Women's League.
I think
or
I
anyone.
think we were
out of
as
any
well.
broadcaster, we were the best.
Yeah.
And we
Of
were the
all of
best
them.
morning to do it as well.
Yeah.
But no, excellent job by you, Lucy.
Thank you so
and
much.
we've had an absolute ball on this show as always. And we're going to move to an NRL result. It was round 6, and the Storm against the Sharks. This was the grand final rematch, and you're expecting the Storm to come out firing. You know, bitter from that loss.
And that stormy conditions didn't help.
And the stormy conditions certainly didn't help. It was raining cats, dogs, and just about everything else.
I'm pretty sure I saw a crocodile land on
I'm
the field.
pretty sure I did. A couple of bricks there as well.
Yeah.
Nat Fife. You know, everyone
Cam
was
McCarthy's hairdo.
Cam McCarthy's hairdo going. That probably distracted the Storm. But it was the Storm weren't able to get over the line. They only scored 2 points in this game, and the Sharks 11. They were huge. There was a Sarah Caro try. I think that's how you say it. And it was a big game. Crowd of 12,000 at Amy Park. You know, obviously wet conditions. We're never going to get a huge crowd in, but the Storm were pretty dismal in this game, Lee.
Yeah, coming off 5-0, and the big news about Cooper Cronk
Yes.
leaving at the end of the year. Which, if we had
Shit,
time,
a couple of shockwaves
I
through.
could have
Could
spoken
have well
about,
happened.
with my opinion of players signing contracts and leaving a year into them.
I don't like it. Don't like
Neither
it.
do I. And I can't believe that discussion of should that come in the AFL players leaving mid-season.
Don't do it.
I think clubs know. I think Adelaide knew that Dangerfield was leaving. I think, Fife knows if he's going to stay at free or not.
It's the same as a priority pick midway through a season. You don't need it. I mean, if Essendon had one last year, it would have been very helpful, but we didn't. We were there to suffer. You've got to go through the whole season. You've got to go through the ups and downs. But Cronulla, they climbed to third on the league table after this big win.
Looking to be the first team to go back-to-back premiers since the Broncos.
Since the Broncos, all the way back in the early 2000s, wasn't it?
Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
Kind of
so
weird. They
good
kind
win
of
by
went back-to-back. The Super League in 97. They won
yeah.
the Super League, but they were also an NRL season. But then
That's
they won
right.
the 98 premiership.
They did.
So it's very confusing.
It is very confusing, the different league crossovers and stuff like that. But regardless,
They
they,
kind of
were the
won back to
brand.
back.
They won. Yeah, they won. They were good. So, yeah, potentially the Sharks are looking very tough around the ball. And, they'll continue to get better this season. And getting to some tennis in the Davis Cup, the Aussies are absolutely
get him out,
flying.
Kyrgios! Get him out there!
Kyrgios, we love you,
You
Kyrgios!
good thing!
You beautiful, beautiful man.
I tee your stuff up and we'll hate you again.
Yes, yeah, that's right, that's right. The moment you use way too much aggression, then we're going to piss
I
you
did
off.
like his interview though, meaning that he's a 21-year-old, he's still learning everything.
He's still learning everything. That's right, that's
I
right.
thought he was 21 last time I looked up his name a few years ago, but okay.
Yeah, God.
So-
you can take a couple of digits of that in all reality. But no, this was a great victory all round in the Davis Cup. The Aussies smashing the Americans. We always love defeating the Americans. It's a very, very important thing for us to do. Just to recap the results, Jordan Thompson defeated Jack Sock 6-3, 3-6,
That was a
7-6,
shocking
7-4,
performance.
6-4. Eventually got there in the end. Nick Kyrgios defeated John Isner 7-5, 7-6, 7-5, 7-6, 7-5. 7-5, 7-5, 7-5. There was a lot of 7-5s in there, but Nick Kyrgios got the job done in the end in 3 sets. And Sam Groff, and this was in the doubles, Sam Groff and John Peers, they lost to Steve Johnson and Jack Sock in 3 sets as well. And then Nick Kyrgios defeated Sam Querrey. The Americans do have some pretty handy players. They all seem to be ranked in the kind of mid-ish 20s, so they're gonna have their they're looking to some of becoming pros in the future. But Nick Kyrgios was too good for Sam Querrey, 7-6, 6-3, 6-4, and Sammy Groff defeated the big serving Sammy Groff defeated Jan Isner 6-7, 3-6, and Belgium lead Italy 2-1 with the winner to play Australia.
No,
so
Belgium
that's
did end
huge.
up winning.
And Belgium ended up winning. There you go. Quick update. Ding ding. Satellites on.
Yep.
And so Belgium will play Australia
Yeah, we're
in
looking to
the meat pie versus chocolate match. This is going to be great.
We're looking to make our first Davis Cup final since we won in 2003.
It's great.
Been a
It's
while.
great. It's a beautiful trophy as well.
I
the
do
Davis Cup.
do
love it.
say, and I do mean this, that I do believe Kyrgios can win a Grand Slam. Probably a few.
Oh, he'll win.
Oh,
He'll win a few Grand Slams.
Oh, he
in the next
has
few
the
years,
talent.
He definitely has the talent, and he's still so young. I mean, you think of Federer and Nadal; they were winning some pretty big games when they were quite young and they played against each other so many times. Kyrgios is still very young, so I think once he matures, and hopefully with age he does mature, not get stupid.
Like a fine wine.
That's right. But he's got so much great potential, and he's an uncapped talent, and he'll just continue to get better and better and better.
Yes,
very, very good.
The last thing we'll probably talk about before we head off on our merry ways into the sunset.
Yes.
Is
Or
the
lack
A-League.
of sunset.
Is the A-League.
The A-League. Very good.
Believe it or not, it's still on, people.
It's still on. It's unbelievable. It's like the basketball. They just taper off towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
Then suddenly it's like, oh, we've got the playoffs now. And then that tapers off too. And then it's just like, oh, it's over, by the way.
And it's just when one team's dominant like Sydney FC, it's kind of,
yeah.
Sydney got over
a little
Adelaide.
bit, a little bit boring.
There was a Sydney drew with Wellington. Melbourne drew with Western Sydney. Perth defeated Brisbane, and the Central Coast Mariners defeated Newcastle Jets. There was one round to go to the finals.
It's happening. It's getting exciting, and
But they did have a big thing this weekend with the new video
it did.
assistant referee.
I thought that was very
did make
good.
a call.
I'm gonna make a controversial call on the show now.
Controversial.
I have always believed this in sport. There should be an automatic draw of a line where the goalpost is, where the line is. So once you draw this alternative line, it's pretty much like a coloured in blue line, I think. It's like a graphic thing that you add to where the goal is. Now, there has been controversy in so many playoffs.
Especially in the World Cup.
Especially in the
Always
World
bad
Cup.
in the World Cup.
I remember there was one where I think it went to the German goalkeeper and it bounced literally on the line and then it bounced out, the keeper grabbed it. Now, on the replay, after the goal had been disallowed, it shows just an inch of the ball just over that white line. And of course, as soon as it's over that white line, it's a goal. Now, if they had my technology, my graphically drawn blue line, exactly where the line of the white mark is, it'll then show the ball in real time. And if there is just literally an inch of that ball over the line, that is a goal.
I
And
like
the AFL should have it as well.
I
What
like
are your
the ice
thoughts?
hockey thing where it lights up and the ball goes in the through.
I think that's good as well.
Like,
Much
just have
like the
it-
zing bales.
Even like a thing,
it's
like it
good.
touches, if it goes over the line, it's like a zzz, like a.
That's
like,
right.
Just something that people know.
That's right, because it's happened as well in the AFL. There needs to be maybe sensors on the goalposts, potentially, and also there needs to be a camera right on where the line is, because there's been so many calls in the past, particularly where there's a touch. The touch is probably the hardest one.
like
you
the-
draw a line, there
like,
might be the problem.
Jason Johannesson's goal in the grand final.
That's right.
If the Doggies went on to lose that game, that would have been very
It would
controversial.
have been a very controversial score, and that's where this particular
Yeah, the big
technology
issue.
needs to come in. There needs to be more cameras. They have GoPros, for example. Put some GoPros on the post. Put some sensors in. Get this graphic draw across the line. If the FFA is listening to me right now, I hope you're taking notes.
The soccer is definitely one of those sports where you could easily do something like that as well. Because I feel like as soon as the ball goes over, if the goal tells you, because you have this line thing or whatever,
That's right.
then you can't can't disallow that kind of thing. But it's always the case of error.
That's right. And I mean, human judgment at the end of the day is the one that we usually go for,
Yeah.
not technology, because technology can be so inconclusive. But in such a day and age where there is so much technology coming
When
through,
there's probably something that could easily do that.
that's right.
'Cause
I
it's
think
so advanced now.
I think this could definitely be introduced. So I am gonna copyright the idea and come and speak to me after the show. A-League, thank you.
Depends how much money you make. I want to be a business partner. Just
Yeah.
depends if you make some money.
I'm going to be pretty hungry about this, Liam. I'm not going to lie.
Liam's
I'm going
like,
to be
I'm
pretty
gonna sit
hungry
on it
about
for a little bit.
Shit.
Yeah.
You want to be my business partner? do you?
If you
I
make
thought you
if
did.
you make money, if
I
it's in the
thought-
millions,
Only if I make money. If it's in the millions.
I want a 50%
Oh
cut.
God! I tell you what. Much like the Australians do in soccer, they're going to cheat us some way or another. The Europeans, they're not going to like us here.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm going to lose a lot of money here. But it has been a big round of sport.
Big round.
Big round of sport, and I think we've covered just about all bases. I will quickly mention some of the racing as well, because my brother is a big V8 supercar man. So Fabian Courtard in his Ford finished with a lap time of an hour 23. 36.52 seconds. Scott McLaughlin came second in his Ford as well, an hour and a half. And Jamie Whincup was the third in the pole position there. Jamie Whincup for Holden, just over an hour and a half as well. And Craig Lowndes as well, very familiar face in supercar racing. And David Reynolds in his Holden as well. So championship points, Shane Van Gisbert's on 384 for Holden. Fabian Coulthard is on 364 for Ford. And of course, Jamie Whincup again. He's an ageless wonder, 333 for Holden. And so coming into Bathurst later on in the season, it's going to be very interesting to see where Holden and Ford place.
Yes, I was going to look at the Super Rugby results, but the Rebels didn't play.
The Rebels didn't
It
play?
was kind of a good thing because they've lost their first 5 games. So
they've been absolutely.
You can't lose if you don't play.
Absolutely.
It's always a good
pitiful.
motto to go by.
Absolutely.
That's all the time
That's
we have
all we have time for today.
Season 1 of the Sports is on the Monday. We still have the Friday, but the Monday is the prime show.
The Monday is the show
Monday's
that
the
everyone
prime show.
tunes into, you know?
It's probably why Lucy's missed most Monday shows and Fridays. FYI. Just,
You know, I have to be there on Friday to hold it together.
yeah,
You know? Yeah.
you
But
do
I-
say
I-
all the time that we have this.
Yeah, I was like,
That's
you guys,
right.
I trust you guys, you know?
We're
I trust
always
you,
here.
the dream team.
Oh, there's
We are
always
the
a
dream
hole
team.
missing when you're not here, though.
Oh,
We,
God.
we need the Lucy part of it.
We need the
Guys,
Lucy part
we
of it.
do.
You bring the loose to our show, you know? It's,
I'm the loose
the loose
The
cannon.
loose cannon.
The loose
yeah,
cannon.
I was trying to think of what it was.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. See, this is why it works. You
This
guys,
is why it works.
You get me.
We invigorate energy
Yes.
into the studios.
And
yeah.
we both got big months coming ahead, me and you.
Certainly
We
do.
have a show.
We have a new show coming up. We
But-
may as well plug it on the show. We're not
Yeah.
going to release the information yet, are we?
Oh,
Or-
no.
No, we
but,
do. We will.
It's pretty much just the outside of sports. It's more an
That's
outside
right.
look on sports. But me and you won't do the entire season.
No,
You're
I
going
am
to
going
Vietnam.
to Vietnamien. That's the French way of saying Vietnam. I'll be heading to. I don't know why I didn't know French where I'm going there. I think some parts are French. So I'll be going off to Vietnam for a couple of weeks. So I will be hosting our brand new show on Sin Nation. So the way you listen to that is online, and that's going to be broadcasted all around Australia on Sin Nation. So listen to that on Wednesdays. And that's going to feature me, Liam, and of course Jonathan Pertol from Jono Talks, which is going to be very exciting. We're going to be talking about a lot of different sport. And all of those Supercoach fans out there, please tune in. We'll be giving plenty of tips. Controversially better than Jock Reynolds.
And just before you leave, I'm off to China for a year.
China.
To teach
You're
kids
going
English.
to China.
Yeah,
Well,
huge news.
well, that's
Massive.
huge, Liam. So you're
Yeah.
going to educate them about just how successful Fremantle are?
Yep.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliantly done.
I'm
Brilliantly done.
going to teach them, to say, "Good day, mate." I'm going to go, "How much do you pay for a snag?" And if they have to
Are
get that
you
correct.
going to be going to Koshi's exhibition game?
No, I'm actually in Gold Coast when that game's on.
Oh,
damn it.
bugger. Bugger.
I don't leave till June.
I was going to say you'd be the only Australian going to that game, I reckon. Certainly the only Fremantle supporter. But it has been a wonderful show. Of course, listen to the Playmakers Vault on Wednesday with
Yes.
Liam, me, and Jonathan. Also, check us out on YouTube, where the videos will be put up. And also, a very big thank you to our producer, Lucy. She's done a fantastic job this season. And yeah, well done. First
you.
time producing, right?
Yeah, first time producing the show, but also thank you to the two of you for
Ah.
making my job very, very easy. But yeah, it's been a really, really good season, and we've got heaps of new people coming
Yes,
in next
very, very
season, so I'll be very
exciting.
Yes,
excited.
our spots
Yeah.
when we come back, from Vietnam and China might be gone next year.
Couple of
Yeah.
young faces, we love it. Couple of young voices,
Newcomers.
So they're going to be very, very cool, and they're going to be spanning out on a lot more sports as well, including polo. I've heard.
Oh, was that right?
Probably not, but we've given them we've set them a task.
Yeah.
So all those water polo fans out there, get pumped. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Sports Desk. Tune in on Friday.
Yes, this is the Sports Desk on Sin 90.7.